Tommy, what other species do you grow and why those particular ones?
Well, in addition to white pine that I've been growing, I'm growing a mix of different types of species because there is customer demand for those right now. Mainly spruce and fir species, which I am very much getting more into every year. I'm growing Norway spruce, some white spruce, and some blue spruce right now with the fir species, and a few Meyer spruce. In addition to the firs, I'm growing some Turkish, concolor, canane, and Douglas firs right now. There's an overall demand for short needle trees nationwide, and each year I get customers who are asking about those type trees, and I want to try to fill that market and that niche if at all possible, and get as many customers that will come here and make it a tradition of coming and getting that particular tree every year.
What challenges have you experienced?
I'd say the most recent challenges I have had over the past several years has basically been the weather, hot, dry conditions setting in early in the season. These have been probably the most challenging times I can ever recall. I do know when I started out 30 years ago, we did not have these extreme conditions. We did have hot summers and dry conditions, but nothing to compare to what we're going through right now. And I believe, aside from diseases and insect problems and maybe some other cultural interest that has to be involved with the trees, I have to say that these conditions that we're faced with environmentally, of which we have no control over, of course, is a main obstacle and quite a challenge to try to overcome.
Did you get assistance in starting, and if so, from whom?
My basic assistance that I could remember came from the Johnston County Cooperative Extension. I do remember some of the workshops that were given at that time in the early 80s. I do remember Bill Stanton Sr. and Bill Huckster from NC State were going around the state at different counties and doing these workshops and getting people interested in growing Christmas trees, and I happened to attend at least a couple of those, and I did get quite a valuable amount of information from those two meetings that I went to. And in addition to that, I did get some assistance from the Johnston County Cooperative Extension, from whom at the time the director was growing a few Christmas trees on his farm in eastern part of Johnston County, and he came here on a couple of occasions and assisted me on how to properly prune the white pines and get started on those when they were smaller trees.
What changes have you seen in growing trees and in the Christmas tree business through the years?
I'd say the most obvious change has been the customers that are getting more interested in choosing cut and that type of area right now. The demand for choosing cut has really picked up over the past 10 years or so. A lot of marketing and promotion has been done in terms of doing that type of area, and I can actually see a tremendous change what has taken place, particularly in my area the past 5 to 8 years or so. The customer base has definitely picked up, and I can tell that with the influx of more people moving in from the Northeast and Midwest, there are more customers coming in, and much more so as it was 20 years or 25 years ago when I was getting ready to start selling trees. I find more people are driving longer distances to come and get the tree, and also to take advantage of the experience of cutting their own tree.
Tommy, you've mentioned some of the challenges and changes and problems. What are some of the other new problems that are faced?
I believe some of the other problems that we're faced with right now is probably some of the growing conditions that we're faced with. Some of the new invasive plants that are going to be a problem in our tree fields, invasive plants in terms of weeds and weed trees and things like that. There isn't too much that I can think of other than possibly trying to stay on top of things and trying to stay in control of what you're growing and all that. Invasives are a big issue, I think, this day and time, of different types of plants that are coming in that we're having to be affected with, not only in this area but also in the landscape and nursery trade. There's a lot of different types of invasive weeds that are becoming problematic, and I think that's going to be a challenge we're going to be confronted with ongoing, and finding ways to try to suppress that situation and stay in control of it.
How do you see the future of the industry?
I see the future of this industry as being extremely good, and I think it's going to continue to grow. I believe there is a demand for choosing cut Christmas trees. I think there's going to be quite a bit of a demand for this type of operation in years to come, as families become more and more oriented and know about the situation, what we have available. I think they're going to want to try it out and probably get away more from the artificial tree and start thinking more of the real trees, and trying to get them to come and to purchase those real trees that we are trying to promote all the time. I believe it is a situation where the Christmas tree industry in this area is going to continue to flourish and grow, but at the same time, I feel like if not enough people gets into doing the trees, there could be a shortfall down the road, because I know some of the older ones who started years ago, they will retire or quit because of health problems or age. And if there's not enough younger people interested in getting involved in trying to do this, there could be a shortfall or a shortage of available real trees to come to a farm and cut. It is hard work, but it's hard work you got to really enjoy and to really know what you're doing, get educated on what to do. It can be a love. This has been a love for me. This is hard work, but I enjoy doing this very much. When you put a lot of pride in what you do, you see the results in the long run, and you're really proud of the results. And of course, the end result is the selling of the tree come December, and profiting from all the hard work that you have put into it long term.
How long have you been involved with the Eastern North Carolina Christmas Tree Growers Association?
I became involved with the association in its infancy, I believe about the second year when it became known. I think around 1991 I went to my first meeting, and I believe it was in Goldsboro that year, because it was a winter meeting. And from that time on, I have been involved with the association, and I've actually served on the board and have served as past president as well. Have a lot of memories of the association, and it's come a long way and has flourished and has done a lot of good for the industry and for the area outside the mountains, central and eastern North Carolina, and all the way down to Tidewater. I believe it will continue to do a good job in promoting the real trees and being able to hopefully be able to get more numbers into the industry.
Please share any stories, thoughts you'd like regarding your years in growing and selling trees.
I believe some of the most fascinating stories I have are some that are ongoing every year. You get customers coming in of different types, and you have different types of situations that occur, and some are good and some are not so good. I think that the one thing that I remember most is that when I start talking to people about Christmas trees, I think the most obvious question is, well, how long does it take to grow a tree? That's the most obvious and number one question that most people are asking about the trees everywhere I go. I've had some very good situations with customers that are quite well remembered over the years, and there are customers that I like to keep having come back every year as well. I like to promote other areas of the industry, such as wreaths, and things like that, that has kind of come into the industry as well as far as being an entity in the business. I think what has really helped me a lot is that it's becoming more and more diversified in growing different species of trees and possibly offering other areas of value added interest. I believe in the long run it does help to bring in more income, and you get a lot of interest, and you get some good stories over the years, some good things that do occur, whether you go into a large situation, a wholesale situation, or whatever, doing wreaths, which I was privy to this past year, and hopefully be able to get more orders for that. These are the little things that actually help a lot and that you remember most, I think, in doing your Christmas trees, and it gives you the incentive and the momentum to keep forging ahead, to improve on what you're doing, and actually to continue offering this available service, so that they will continue coming back on a yearly basis, and that they will be eager to come and get your product that you're growing, and that'll be an ongoing success story, I think, in the long run.
Well, Tommy, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for coming.